Welcome to the Opinionated Geek podcast. I am your host, John Hanna. Sorry about last week. Last week I was super tired. Now, obviously, no, it's going to work out properly. Again, I'm changing certain stuff up, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do certain things. Friday nights at 9, which I'm a little early today, I'm going to do the live podcast. But I wasn't sure when I was going to upload the podcast to my audio and YouTube channels. And what I think I'm going to start doing, because it just makes a little bit more sense, is just do it on Fridays. So the podcast will be exactly a week behind, because I always feel like I'm more rushed when I'm doing the podcast on a Tuesday and like uploading Thursday. So I think I'm just going to do like a week behind. And that way, before I even start doing the live podcast, I'm just going to upload the podcast to the audio and YouTube channels. So that way I don't feel super stressed out. It gives me a whole week to do whatever the heck I want. Figure out what I want to do, if I want to do any editing, which I typically don't edit, and I should probably edit. But the old way that I did, I just didn't have enough time to edit. At least I didn't feel like it anyway. And now that I'm trying to do more stuff like learn guitar, program, and actually start learning to write, it feels a little bit more on the full side. So, I want to talk about, it's going to be a short podcast, but hopefully it'll be a little bit more entertaining, because I'm not so tired today, or at least tonight. And I have off tomorrow, so I can technically sleep in. But I gotta drive down an hour and a half away with my car, so hopefully my car is very good to me. Hopefully. I didn't want to drive. I was told that I was going to have a ride, and everything on this planet made that not a reality. The person I was going to go with was on vacation during that week, and she didn't realize it until after she said, "Yeah, I'm going to go do this thing," and then so that I'm out of luck when it comes to that. Then I had another guy that's going to be basically coming by my town as he's going down there, and he said he was going to give me a ride, and that was great. And then he called and said basically they switched his location on him, so he's not going to be able to take me down there. And our one manager I thought was going to be with us, he is not. So that kind of threw everything off, so I don't have a ride there either. So basically, even though my car's a little on the iffy side, I have to go down and hopefully everything works out. Though, you know what's amazing? I've had this car for maybe 6 years now, and of course it was used. I forget when I bought it, but it was fairly old to begin with. And it's a 2004, and now we're at 2019, so it's up there. And I've had it for this long, and my always issue is, and I know you could actually buy a head unit for it and install a head unit, but to me that's just a lot of money, and I really don't want to be spending that much money for a car that's, I mean, I guess I had it for quite a few years now, but nonetheless, I always feel like I'm just going to be moving on to another car, so I don't like to spend a whole lot of money when it comes to upgrading stuff on it. And what always bothered me though is it didn't have Bluetooth, and it didn't have an aux port. So essentially, anything on my tablet or phone was a no-go. So what I would typically do was I would literally take some Bluetooth headphones and then, put one of the head earbuds in one and listen to it while I'm driving down the road, listening to podcasts or music or audiobooks. And that was good and all, but with this trip, I was like, I really don't want to be dealing with that. Is there anything I could possibly do? And then it kind of hit me. I don't know why it took this long to actually think about, since I've had this freaking car for 6 years. And even cars before that, I'm like, why didn't I have that? But when I originally bought my first iPod, and it was when they were kind of, well, it wasn't when they were kind of getting big. It was always kind of big. I at least I knew about them before they got to Windows. But I think the iPod really blew up when Apple made it Windows compatible. So I had bought that iPod when they first kind of came out to Windows. It was a 20 gigabyte, and it was when they first had the scroll wheel. It wasn't like the old one where it had like buttons all around in a circle. It was the scroll wheel with the center button. It became the classic look to it. And then not long after that, they made the U2 version, which I don't know why U2 is that important enough to actually have their own iPod, but whatever. I like their old stuff, but again, they think that they're the modern Beatles of the day, but they're not. They're not. So when I had that, I had a little thing. I'm not sure what brand it was called, but it was called iTrip. And it was like a little plastic round tube that you put on it on the top. It wasn't an official piece of product, but I feel like the iPod supported it because it didn't have an LSD screen on it or anything. So there was no way to program the radio stations. So you could actually do it somehow inside the actual iPod itself. But it was essentially an FM radio transmitter. And for whatever reason, I thought they stopped making it. I thought it was mainly because all the head units nowadays have Bluetooth and auxiliary ports. So I just figured they stopped making them. Well, I decided to look like last week, and I found out they still do make them. And I was like, cool, I'll have to get one at some point. And because I didn't think I was going to be driving down there myself, so I wasn't really thinking about I need to order this as soon as possible so I could have it for this little trip. And lo and behold, I am driving down there myself. So I figured, even though there were some really nice ones on Amazon for real cheap, but here's my issue with Amazon stuff. You have to really dig for the actual quality stuff. Like if you know a name brand and you just look up the generic term for whatever thing that you want, you're going to get literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stuff that people, I guess, buy it because it's cheap. And, well, it's cheap. I think that's the only reason I think people buy it. They don't actually want the quality stuff it looks like on Amazon. So I'm not sure if something's good or not when it comes to Amazon. You kind of have to go on the reviews, but I think overall the consensus is, just by searching for something, that you're going to get a cheap Chinese product that might not be all that great. But if you do look for an FM transmitter on Amazon, they do have some really cheap ones that I'm not sure if they'll last a long time, but they're at least got lots of features for the price. So I was looking at an FM transmitter. It has like a nice colored LCD screen. It's got an aux port on it. It's got so that way you don't have to necessarily use Bluetooth if you don't want to waste all that battery. I'm not sure why it matters, because so far most of the FM transmitters that I've looked at have at least one charging port on it. The ones that I saw on Amazon that I really would like to get is believe it's got two on there. And then on top of that, the ones on Amazon, you can also plug in a flash drive. It's also got an SD card reader, and it's also got the Bluetooth capability. So it's got multiple ways to listen to music, and of course, then you can charge your phone. I didn't have time to order it to actually have it be at my house when I necessarily wanted to. I could have spent like $9 and got next day shipping, but to me, that wasn't worth it. I'll just basically, if I want to upgrade, if I'm not satisfied in the long run with this one, I'll upgrade it to one of the ones on Amazon. But the one that I got, it is what it is. It's got a charger, so you can charge your phone as you're using it. It doesn't have a nice, easy dial to change the channels. It's got just buttons for everything. So I like the dials. The dials, you can like really like tune in stuff real quick, where the buttons, it's, click, 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 click. It's annoying. And also, I think I don't think this one has presets. I think the one on Amazon has presets, so you can have like multiple channels preset. So like if you're driving far distances and you do that drive on a regular basis, and those stations change and they actually go bad, you can switch it to the next channel type of thing. And I guess for the most part, if anybody doesn't know what an FM transmitter is basically it uses a non-working radio station. So basically, if you find static on a radio station, so basically as long as you don't use your scan button on the car and you actually, dial it in manually on the car, you can actually find fuzzy channels. And what that does is then you match that channel up with the FM transmitter, and then basically, for the most part, your speakers go silent. And then if you have it plugged up or you have it connected to Bluetooth, whatever's connected to Bluetooth, then you can hear through your car speakers. So it's kind of nice. So even if you don't have like a fancy head unit, you can still use it as a Bluetooth receiver, so you can make phone calls, you can listen to your audiobooks and stuff through your car speakers. So it's really nice for the poor man who doesn't want to spend the money. It's a really great alternative. It's not perfect, because like when I was listening to music and the music stopped to go to the next song, you could hear a kind of a really high-pitched annoying sound, but once the music's actually going, you don't really hear it. But I'm sure if you were listening to an audiobook, and I'm sure if you turned down the volume, you probably wouldn't hear it as much or be barely audible. But naturally, since I was listening to music at the time, because I wanted to test out how good it sounded, I had it kind of cranked up a little loud. So it's kind of like audio equipment. The more you actually have it cranked up, the more sound you're going to get out of it. And the more the floor lifts up, and that's why I have a little gate on this. And that's why when my voice comes through, you probably can hear the room. Unless, of course, I get up a little closer, but I got to make sure not to clip it when I'm that close. But yeah. So overall, happy with it. I would have liked more features, because I would like to be able to just, throw on a bunch of stuff on a zip drive and take it in there, and that way I don't have to even worry about using my phone or anything like that. But it's going to come in handy too when I go down there with the GPS, instead of like having to try to listen to music on the radio or in the CD player, and then also make sure I hear the GPS correctly. Now I can do it all. So yeah, smart move right there. If you have that issue, go out and buy one. I had to do a price match because I went to Target and they were like $40, and I'm like, oh no. But it was $25 on Target.com, so I did it through that. But you go on Amazon, and if you got Prime, that's 2-day free shipping. You can get one for a nice one for $16 to $20. Uh, but yeah, and they got lots of good reviews too. So, even though that wasn't really necessary to talk about, I thought it was kind of a nice thing that I just got. So, on to kind of some news about like my schedule and stuff and what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to focus on becoming a better me with the learning guitar, writing, learning the code, trying to be better at this podcasting thing, also streaming on a regular basis. Now, all this stuff is going to be kind of up in the air a little bit. I'm going to try to do the best I can, but right now with what I'm doing with work and having to go to different cities for multiple days, I can't do certain things. Like I'll be back Fridays to actually do the podcast, but like streaming a game when I have streaming time on my schedule, that's just not a possibility, I don't think, right now. But we're going to try to like at least stream on Thursdays, because I believe I have off Thursdays. But yeah, so I'm trying to figure out ways to make sure I do the things that I want to do and not get distracted. So I've been trying to come up with ideas on how to become non-distracted. And one of the ways that I've decided to do a quick search tonight and look for software that can help you get rid of distractions. And although I'm a little nervous using this, I did get a program called Cold Turkey Blocker. Now, apparently, and I imagine other blockers would be like this. Apparently, this is one of the best. Well, it could be one of your best friends, or it could be one of your worst enemies. Because I've already seen multiple people that have some serious issues with this program. Apparently, according to their website, a lot of programs allow you to cheat a little bit too easily. So basically, it's like it allows you to block it, but then all you gotta do is, hit the stop button on the block thing. With Cold Turkey, you set a block time. Now, I'm not sure how it works. I guess we can test it in the future. I could like test it on the laptop, so that way I'm not so connected to my main computer. But I imagine if you set up a schedule, as long as you're not in your block time period, you can cancel out of the schedules. I could be wrong, but maybe. Or maybe not. Maybe it's just you're screwed. You put that time down, you're stuck. But yeah, there's no way, for the most part, there's no way to get out of the blocks. So if you put a time limit, you're set, and you can't, until that time limit is done, you can't stop it. In theory. Now there is one way to do it. You apparently got to turn off your internet on your computer, and then you got to turn off automatic time, all the clocks stuff. Turn off the automatic adjusting times and stuff, and then you need to actually manually go in and go past that time in order to turn it off. So what I've come across with a couple YouTube videos is people telling you how to get rid of it. I even saw one that said how to uninstall it. I guess because they actually had it still on a blocker and they needed to get rid of it. And the best way that I guess they could figure out how to get rid of it is to uninstall it. And you could see that they were just trying to do the same thing over and over, and eventually it uninstalled. But in theory, you shouldn't have to worry about uninstalling it. You should, the only thing you should have to worry about is making sure you put the time in correctly. Because if you don't put the time in correctly, then you're gonna be screwed. There's multiple stuff that you can do also that makes me a little bit nervous. They even have a thing. I think it well, I don't think it's called cold turkey. I think it's called frozen turkey. But basically, that locks you out of your computer. You can't even log on to your computer until the time limit is done. That makes me a little bit nervous. I probably won't ever turn that on. There's also ways of blocking the entire internet, and then you can actually have certain websites that you actually can connect to. I need to figure out how to do that, because that's probably going to be my main thing, and then I'm going to do that also in the apps section, because this thing does a little bit of everything. So I think the internet is the main issue that I'm going to have. So that's the being able to block websites. That's the important thing that I want to do. But you never know. If you really want to procrastinate, let's just click on Steam or click on GOG, or let's click on, I guess now we got, Epic Games. Because actually they gave me Axiom Verge, so I don't have that in Steam, surprisingly. So I need to check that one out. But yeah, if you really want to procrastinate, there's other ways of doing it besides the internet, and this application allows you to not do that. And I guess the super worst way to procrastinate is you can get up off your computer and actually go do something else. But my guess is, unless you're going to play a console game, you're going to be pretty productive in whatever you're doing that's not at the computer. So even though your idea of actually not procrastinating is to do something on the computer, like write or get some emails done or whatever, I guess it's not so bad if you're going to procrastinate in another way and like clean the house. It's like, oh dang, that sucks. But not really. So I'm still a little bit nervous. I just downloaded it and I tested it out for a 5-minute period, because some people are like, this thing messed everything up. It actually doesn't block the websites, it blocks the entire internet and blah 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 blah. I tested it out. I could go to Wikipedia, I could go to Walmart.com. Who goes to Walmart.com? That was just the first thing that popped in my head because I saw it in a video. Somebody put a Walmart.com. I just don't understand who goes to Walmart.com. And I never shop there. Though somebody stole my account and tried to buy stolen stuff with a card. And I actually, luckily, had canceled it out and fixed everything before they got the order. And then I changed all the stuff. That's another thing. If you're going to steal an account, change the passwords, change the email. Don't let me have access to it again. Freaking morons. But anyway, I could go to all those sites, but then when I went to YouTube.com, it blocked it. If I went to Facebook.com, it blocked it. So and it does a little bit of a kind of a cool thing. It's not necessary. They could literally just have sorry, this website can't be, can't connect or whatever to this site. But it actually has a little, it's not a launch page because it's not the launch page, the Facebook.com, but we'll just call it a launch page. It just gives you like a nice page with an inspirational quote that, supposed to help you just get back to being motivated. So it's got that, and it worked how it was supposed to work. So, and they have that automatically set up where it's got a thing called distractions, and it's basically a whole bunch of websites that you would go to be distracted, like College Humor and I'm sure Reddit, all that stuff. And it's got a free version too. that does some basic stuff. But if you get the paid version, then it gets further. So you got your apps. It's got even subdomains. Cause so my thing is, what I'll probably do is, for example, a distraction site might be Reddit for me. But let's say I'm working on writing. I'll probably set up a block of information of websites and uh, apps that I want to block, but then have like the subreddit, reddit.com writing, and have that open so I can go there and if I have a question about writing or whatever the case may be, maybe I want to get some info about maybe what other people are doing in the writing, get ideas. That might be another option to allow that to happen. It also allows you to set up a password so that other people can't get on your computer and change your settings and screw you over. We'll say that. With the current climate, I'm trying not to curse so much. So yeah, I definitely would say that if you are wanting to do anything productive and you want to stay productive, maybe give this an application a shot. Just make sure you don't do like a bunch of stupid people have done so far that I've saw, that they literally needed to go and figure out how to uninstall it or get rid of it somehow. They literally put the scheduled time for a month by accident. I don't know how you do that by accident, because it's very step by step by step. It's when you go to the little calendar thing, you click on the calendar thing, it says okay, shows you the date. It says to right off the bat, it gives you 2 days date, and you can click on the 8th, for example, and then it will go to okay, now what time, and it'll go to increments up until like the like I think I did it at 7. It was like 7:54, and I wanted to test it out, and it only gave me up until 7:59, and then if you just tapped over like a little calendar, it actually would go over, and then you could put actually 7 o'clock. Very simple. And then it even actually said, oh, it even give you a warning like, okay, do you want to do this? And it's very, very like pretty step by step, and like I don't know how you could mess up that bad. But apparently some people have. Maybe that was the older versions, I don't know, but to me this is very simple. My thing is when it comes to my schedules, for example, sometimes my schedules don't really work out. I try to make them work out as best as I can, but like, yeah, for example, if like I'm supposed to be doing guitar and I have the ability to have all the guitar stuff that I want open, but I don't have time to actually do guitar, and I have to like kind of do something else, then I'm kind of screwed, because I can't do anything else except for those apps and stuff that are meant for the guitar. So I guess in theory, what you can do is only set up the timer when you're about to do something and for how long you want to do it for. But my thought is I don't want to set that stuff up on a regular basis every single time I want to do that stuff. I kind of want to have it planned ahead, so that way I don't have to worry about it. So when I turn on my computer, I'm like, okay, this is on. I can't do anything but this. And I think would be a healthy thing in theory, but I'm not positive. I guess it's one of those things where it's like, even if you can only do 15 minutes because of your time allowance, I guess that's better than nothing. But we'll see. I'll definitely report back and see how it's doing, because I'm definitely going to be putting it on the laptop, and with the hotel situation, I'm definitely going to be making sure that no, you can't do anything in this hotel except for watch crappy TV, and nobody wants to watch that crap because you're just constantly flipping. There's nothing on. Uh, and until I do my writing and my coding, so I'm hoping that will allow me to make use of my time as best as possible. Uh, but yeah, that's cold turkey, and I would highly suggest anybody checking it out if they have any uh, procrastination issues, which I am a master procrastinator. I think everybody is a master procrastinator, but I feel like I really am to a really serious fault. Like over and over and over, life continues to try to teach me the lesson to not procrastinate, and I continue to do it, even for stuff that I actually want to do. And maybe eventually we can start doing this for music, because I really, really, it's one of the things where I'm like, I want to make music, but then I'm like, when the I'm always one of the people who's like, I need the inspiration. I need the inspiration. It's like, you know what a good musician does? He doesn't wait for the inspiration. He does it. It's his job or her job. Just like a writer, you don't wait until you're inspired to write. You write, and guess what? If you throw it out, you throw it out. But you know what? At least you're writing. So, on to the next thing that I'm kind of disappointed about. Okay. Since this was on sale, and it was actually on sale everywhere, I think, and I'm a Humble Bundle monthly subscriber, I also get 10% off. So this is, I think, $25. I got it for like $20, something like that, on PC. Now, I have it on PS4, but my PS4 is indisposed at the time. But when I was doing what's that stupid game? Dang, what the heck is that? I got all of them. Crap. Dark Souls, she's zooey. Even though I got all three of them, basically I got 1 and 2 via a friend, I believe. And I got the third one because I was watching people play it, and I hadn't bothered with Dark Souls 1 and 2. But 3 looked like it intrigued me. And it did. I actually kind of got pretty far. I also got Bloodborne on PS4 too. I got all these games, even though I'm not a fan of hard games. I like to relax and enjoy myself. But overall, From Software's games didn't really vibe with me too much. But for some reason, Nioh did. I really, really enjoyed what I played of Nioh. But my computer died, and in the end, it just didn't, I wasn't able to beat it. But I really like it, and maybe eventually we'll get my PS4 up and running, and we'll be able to play it again on PS4, because I also want to play Persona 4. Although I kind of have a way of playing it with the emulators, but it's a little choppy. But I can technically play it on my computer. But yeah, I'm not sure if it's like the samurai setting. I'm not sure if it's the quickness, because my issue, even with being naked in Dark Souls, I still feel like there's kind of a lag to it. And I know that's part of the charm to it. You got your laws of physics in the game, and you have to work within those limits. And it is what it is. Where well, you also have the issue that I guess makes it a little bit more harder is the fact that you only get so much healing in Dark Souls, and it slowly goes up as time goes on. But once you go to a save point, I believe, if I remember correctly, your healing stuff goes back to full, and that's all you get until you save again. Well, with Nioh, you can continue to get like the health potions on a somewhat regular basis, and as long as you're not stupid and get greedy, uh, you can pretty much do a pretty good job at actually beating the game. But I actually I felt like I was pretty far. I probably wasn't, but I was doing pretty dang good, I thought, and I got stuck, and then naturally I stopped playing there for a while, and now of course I feel bad about not playing because my PS4 died, and maybe with income tax, maybe I'll take $100 and get it fixed, because I'm really wanting to play some of those games that I can't play on computer, like any of the Kingdom Hearts games. I've never played any of them. I would like to kind of play the ones that they have remastered, and also Kingdom Hearts 3. Maybe. I don't know. I have to really like look into it and see if these are a type of game that I really want to play. It seems like there's a lot of people that like them or even love them, but from what I've seen, I'm like, it could be something I like, or it could be not, because I'm not a huge overall Disney fan. I don't. I like Pixar, and I know Pixar is now technically Disney, but to me, there's two different vibes. You got your Disney movies, and then you got your Pixar movies. Just like now you have your Marvel movies and your Lucasfilm movies. But yeah, so this game's awesome. The only issue is PC. And it could be my issue. I just never had a reason to bother with it. But I'm still rocking two 720p monitors. And the Nioh is now the second game that I've run across. Another game that I have for PS4, and I actually bought it for PC. It was actually on a Humble Bundle, so I didn't feel like I was being ripped off too much, but yeah, it was on a Humble monthly bundle. No, not a monthly bundle. It was actually on an individual bundle. But it was Guilty Gear Xrd Revelator. Can you see that? Yeah, see that. Yeah. So, awesome, beautiful fighting game that I suck at, but it was still a cool game that I'm like, well, since my PS4 is down, I'll get it for PC and we won't have any issues. Well, these two games on my PC have issues because they're horrible ports. Now, to me, a horrible port, when people say they're a horrible port, to me they're not too horrible ports when it comes to most ports, unless you're talking about like Arkham. What was the Arkham City? It wasn't Arkham City. What was the last one? The last one that they did that basically they even gave everybody all the Batman games, all the Arkham games on PC for saying we're sorry for doing this horrible port, and basically it barely ran on computers that should have run just fine. Now they have fixed it up enough to make it run fairly well, but it's just too damaged, and it never will be the proper thing that it should be. But yeah, it was that last one where you got the Batmobile. That to me was a horrible port. These aren't horrible ports to me. They might lack some features, but that's not a deal breaker for me. What's a deal breaker for me is the fact that I'm on old technology. I should have 1080p monitors, and I don't, because I've never had the issue of needing to upgrade my monitors because all my games work for it, and I've never felt like I'm like, oh man, this would look cooler in higher resolution. Uh, just because I don't really care about graphics too much as long as the gameplay is there. But these two games on the PC have set resolutions and only a select set resolutions. So I can't even put it in my native resolution. So, and Guilty Gear, this one's really bad because it doesn't even allow me to like do full screen. At least the last time I checked, if I remember correctly. So it wouldn't allow me to do that. So basically, I had to view it in a window, and that was not cool to me. Not at all. I can do windowless. I can do many things, but I can't stand seeing the background of my computer. So, Nioh, on the other hand, it's playable, but it's not so much fun when it comes to streaming. Uh, Basically, it allows me to go full screen, but then due to that being that I can't pick my native resolution, the uh, all the stuff on my other screen shifts. So basically, luckily I can still see the chat if anybody does decide to talk to me, but I can't see like the corner of the rest of Streamlabs OBS on the right side of the screen. So that's kind of annoying. It's still tolerable, but I think they could have done just a lot better. Just all I ever ask is, I don't even care if you really give me any options. Just give me the ability to have the resolution that I want to. That's it. So it's really disappointing that I feel like I don't even want to stream it, even though this is probably the game that'll actually be a lot of fun to stream because you'll get to see me angry and frustrated and all that stuff, but still having fun. Also, it's nice that I can hook up my PS4 controller to the PC because it feels like I'm back at home being on PS4. I've tried all the resolutions, and sadly, they all do roughly the same thing. Some do it worse, but most of them kind of just nudge the screen over a little bit in full screen. And I can't do windowed because I can't stand seeing the background of a PC. And then this game's dark a lot, so you're dealing with a lot of darkness. So if the background is all light, you need to envelope, or I don't think that's the right terminology, but basically you have to make the whole screen dark. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to see some of the stuff in the shadows because you're going to be the other light's going to fuck with. Dang it, I cursed. Mess with other stuff. So yeah, it's really disappointing, but an awesome game. I would say, to me, I like it better than Dark Souls without a doubt. And I hope they do Nioh 2. Did they make Nioh 2? It's been like 2 years, maybe 3 years. No, 2 years. It's got to be 2 years since I haven't had my PlayStation. And they got a whole bunch of stuff. You got Red Dead Redemption 2 that I'm not even sure if it's ever going to come out to PC. There's a possibility, but they still haven't really confirmed anything. There's a couple other games that the remasters of like Shadow of Colossus. I've never played the original one. I guess technically, since I've been doing emulators now, I can actually go and play those. But I feel like I should just get the remasters if I can. But yeah, the good thing is all those games that have came out, that I probably would have bought brand new, I'll be able to get for a lot cheaper once I get my PS4 fixed. But yeah. Anyway, so that's Nioh. Highly recommend the game. Maybe not so much on the PC unless you have a monitor with 1080p. Other than that, I don't notice anything bad about it. Like, you know, like, oh dang, it doesn't have field of view sliders. I don't really care about that stuff as long as I uh can play the game without like any issues. And it's true, it runs smooth. It's just bad resolutions choices. So, and then here's a little bit of news that I know it's again, this is really the only thing I got as far as news that I thought was interesting. Xbox Live is coming to Switch, iOS, and Android, or at least that's what Microsoft is trying to say. I'm not. I don't really get the point of it, but eh. To me, it's like, well, maybe we can get people subscribed to Xbox Live. My thing is, I don't understand like for any of those things. I can understand for PC because you got the Xbox games on Windows Store, which nobody buys except for maybe a few people. But I'm like, why, if I had a Switch or had iOS or if I had Android, why should I spend the $60 a year for what? What games can I get for mobile or on my Switch that are Microsoft? And I'm kind of curious of what their long plan is. Now, I'm 100% okay with this. In fact, I think everybody should kind of do this. If you ask me, I think the exclusives should end at this point. Because, again, like, just think about this in the long thought process. Throughout the years, except for Nintendo, nobody makes profit off a console until, like, almost near the end of its life cycle do they start making profit off it. And even then, like with both Xbox and PlayStation, they've already bumped up their consoles. So naturally, even when they might be able to start making money off of the original versions, most people are going to go to the upgraded version, and once again, they're still not making money. So the consoles themselves aren't the moneymaker. It's the games. For third party, the companies pay for licensing to have it on those systems. So Sony and Microsoft are like, thank you for that money. And I think overall that might be some money, but not like, oh my god, money. But overall, it's your games in general. Games is where these companies make their money. So the logical solution is have it open borders. I should be able to buy trying to think of a game now. The Last of Us, for example, even though I don't like it. You should be able to buy that for Xbox. And people are like, whoa, 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 whoa. Why? Why should I, PlayStation exclusive, man. Get a PlayStation if you want to play Last of Us. But why? That console's not making Sony any money compared to actually selling an actual game. And the only reason you have consoles and console exclusive games is so you can buy the console, so you can buy into their ecosystem. So it's just like, how about you just make it open borders when it comes to the games, and that way you can make a crap ton of money instead of just some money. Because then it's like, well, maybe not Nintendo, because I was like, you can buy Last of Us on Nintendo. Well, it's an old enough game, so maybe you might be able to. But, like for the second one, you might not be able to buy it for Switch. But just imagine all the Xbox owners, which I'm surprised at how many people there are playing Xbox, because overall, they haven't brought out any games, at least not to my liking. I don't care about Gears of War, I don't care about racing, and I don't care about Halo. And they've closed down all the studios of the games that I do like. So, Xbox literally has nothing that I'm interested in. So it's mind-blowing that people have actually bought it. The only thing I can think of why I would buy it is for the backwards compatibility. And that's because I want to play a whole bunch of games that were a part of the last generation that I just didn't get around to playing. And I sold off my 360 back then. But yeah, for the most part, I'm just like, their game plan seems to be very interesting, but it would be cool if Microsoft just said, you know what, let's be done with this console thing and let's do our own thing. Like, let's be the kind of like, I guess, the Netflix of video games in a weird way. I don't know how they're going to do that because you need to actually have games. But they seem to be wanting to do things that I guess other people aren't. And that's cool with me. You get the controller that they did for the handicap people. I think that's really cool. They're doing this. They're doing backwards compatibility. They're doing crossplay with no issues. And I realize it's because they're the underdog. If they were in Sony's position, I guarantee they wouldn't do that. And you could tell that they wouldn't do that because when the Xbox One came out, when they announced it, they were, and unless some things changed. When I was playing the 360, that was the top dog. But it seemed like that at the end of the cycle, I seen a lot more people playing the PS3. So I'm not sure if it, Xbox was up top and then slowly PlayStation 3 took over. But overall, I think most people had an Xbox 360. But when, and that's why I think they had the ego that they had. And when they came out and said, yeah, we're going to bring out the Xbox One and we're going to basically have a closed system and you won't be able to buy used games and all this stuff, they thought they, had everything in the bag because they're like, we are the people that gave you the 360. We're awesome. We can do whatever the heck we want because we got the fan base already. And it's like, no, you messed up. And you messed up bad, and I don't think they've been able to recover since. And they've been very generous with what they've been doing, but it's still, I don't think, anything to actually like push you to the system. Because, like, again, let's say I had $300 right now. What would I do? Fix my PS4, buy a Switch, or get an Xbox One? Well, it's only going to cost me $100 to fix my PS4, so I would do that, even though I really want to Switch. So, but even if I didn't have to worry about my PS4, I'd be buying a Switch. I wouldn't be buying an Xbox One. So I'm still curious about what they're doing with their long game. I think it could be cool, their long game, because it's very interesting what they're doing, but don't know. And now I'm just rambling. So, because I have no freaking idea. So I will call it there. I think this has actually turned out a lot better than what I thought. And I'm actually quite awake, so it managed to go pretty well. Not a whole lot of rambling, not a whole lot of pausing. At least I don't think it's a whole lot of rambling. And I thought I was very enthusiastic too. Unlike last podcast. Last podcast, I was just like blah blah. I I felt bad for even uploading it after I listened to it back. But anyway, if you watched, thank you for watching. And if you're listening, thank you for listening. And I will see you all next Friday night. Anyway, I'll see you later. Bye.